on it, so I'll be right back.
Thanks.
Sounds good. And then just so you know, we're live now.
Wait, I am not starting. There, I started.
On it, so
Now I'm there. All right.
are we live?
You're live.
Okay. So Dr. Cuneo, did you say you wanted to start with AD?
How does AD start? How about if we go in order? Is that okay?
Okay. Yep.
Policy AD, I saw nothing wrong with the changes there.
Yeah, those.
Dr. Asner, what do you think?
Yeah, we changed the word basis,
Mm-hmm.
functions and family. I think that one looked good. Yeah.
And then also added the mission and vision up on.
Yes.
At the top.
Yeah.
Okay. So this one would be ready for first reading on August 24th.
Ready to go.
Perfect.
Amy, would it be appropriate, would this be the group that I would talk about some of the comments that had been on Let's Talk in regards to greatest potential and how that kind of flies in the face of IDEA?
Their full potential
Yes.
or greatest potential?
Yeah, the term potential, and it's and the way I interpret greatest potential is a little bit different than others. We have had some families that want to say that an IEP team's responsibility is to give it to the child's full potential, growth to its fullest potential. IDEA says to stay away from those terms, that you should be maximizing that individual's ability. So it's just something that we need to monitor moving forward.
If so, we probably need to go back to the board with the mission statement. I mean, what we're doing is just putting it there.
Yeah, but I think it's something that we can monitor this year. I see it being very impactful only because we have students of all abilities that we support in the district, right? I think we should, I think our meaning may be misconstrued with some of our public. So.
Thank you.
Okay, if we monitor it, we may want to go back and look at it, but I'm reluctant to have a policy committee change our mission statement after the whole board said something.
No, I just wanted to bring it up to this committee. Like I said, is this the right place?
Yeah. Let's monitor it.
Good idea.
Okay. That takes us into our COVID.
I thought the only thing we needed to do on this was changing the end date. 3rd paragraph down.
Mm-hmm.
So
are we, go ahead.
Yeah, the 3rd paragraph has to have the end date changed, right? Yeah.
I thought we were going to change that in, please correct me if I'm wrong, to June 2022.
Okay. But no changes to the leave itself?
I don't believe so. I thought we just extended it a year.
Okay. Wendy and I had some conversation with Dr. Keenan, and she had talked about potentially making some changes to the language. But as far as providing the leave, the ability to work from home, since we have students in person, and that's our plan, I think that there was some thought around not necessarily having the opportunity to work from home for staff, but more just being on leave.
So is it this policy though is about folks who have been in contact with somebody who's tested positive?
Correct.
right?
Well, yes, on the top of the second page, there is that COVID illness leave that the district is providing 10 paid days of leave. That was an extension of FFCRA that expired in December.
Yeah.
I'm not aware of any other districts or agencies that are continuing that. So I think that's something we could remove.
Tell me where that is, please.
Top of page 2, COVID-19 illness leave, that's where we allowed 10 paid days for staff that contracted COVID and were too ill to work from home last year. That had been something that had been outlined under FFCRA that expired at the end of December. And since we had it the first half of the school year, we wanted to continue it through the remainder of the school year. So we did so via policy.
And just to clarify, is your recommendation to now remove these paragraphs?
From our understanding, I don't believe any other district is doing a paid leave like that. So that's something that I think we probably would need to consider, just a blanket 10-day paid leave.
And right.
I mean, I don't know.
It's a difficult decision.
Yeah, I mean, I think it seems like a nice and the right thing to do to allow our employees, if they get COVID-19, to know that they can stay at home and recover, and not miss out on their pay. I mean, that encourages them to stay home. Does it not, or is it covered under something else?
It would be under their sick time, but we're saying they don't have to take their sick time for this.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, we haven't talked during actual board meetings about the COVID numbers in a while, but they're going up.
Yeah. I mean, and it is something that we could talk more in depth about in the closed session with the entirety of the board.
I would like to have the whole board make this decision.
Yeah.
What do you think, Dr. Asner?
I think that's a good idea. Let's get more
Yeah.
points in there.
And
I'll
I
tell you
think,
what, can we put this on the, I don't want to have this policy especially since it expired as of June 31st. How about if we, do we have time on our next executive meeting to throw 10 minutes on this in August?
I'm sure we can make time.
On
On August 10th,
Yes,
put it on
it's
the
just,
agenda.
yeah, can we put this on the agenda? This is just something that we can't put away too long, especially since it expired.
Wendy
Okay,
and I, we can do a board memo for that to add it to the agenda, Amy.
okay, that'd be great.
Okay. And then, because my only other, Wendy and I, our only other real recommendation in looking at that in that next section on page 2, the vaccine leave, we really thought that we should probably look at changing that language, continuing to allow that vaccine leave, but changing the language to, and because right now it says the first and/or second dose of the vaccine, we thought there should be some reference to the booster. So potentially first, second, and/or booster, because
And
we
if,
have it.
how about if we put it, and if booster is required? Because at
Correct,
this
something
point,
along those lines.
my
Just-
understanding on the booster yet, that it has not, no one
Right.
is stating that it's out yet. So I would-
Correct, but
if we would just say if booster is required.
Sorry, what page are we on right now? Just so I can follow along.
middle of page 2, the COVID-19 vaccine leave.
So paragraph 2 there says, will be eligible to receive the vaccine during the regular schedule for each dose of the vaccine. So that's covered.
Right, but then in
one-
that next paragraph is where it
The
specifically.
first and or
says.
second dose of the, so
Amy,
after
I have
receiving
to
each
step away
dose of
for
the
a minute.
vaccine.
Yes,
I
go
would-
ahead, Amy, you're stepping away from it, yes.
Might we just change it to each dose of the vaccine?
Yeah,
Just to
That sounds good.
cover, I mean, who knows? This may
Right.
be, an annual thing for us,
yeah,
or biannual thing for us.
okay. Each is fine.
That covers it instead of if a booster is required. I like each better.
I'll do too. And it's consistent with the language at the, in the paragraph previous.
Okay.
Okay.
We have the statement under dishonesty or misuse of the vaccine. Has anyone tried to do this? I know we have to put it in the policy, but has anyone tried to do that?
I would
Said
say
they
have
were
intentionally tried. I think we've had some instances where we've gotten clarifying information that, you know, it is a little different as we move along, but I wouldn't say anybody has intentionally been dishonest. So we'll table that. Hopefully we would still have that ready for the August 24th meeting though, after discussion on August 10.
Okay, if we do that, what happens is somebody in between June 31st, all of July, we handle that on a case-by-case basis?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay. All right. The next policy is the temporary policy for non-paid childcare leave for COVID. I don't believe we need this. This was a policy that we put into place when the schools were closed in the region, and the schools won't necessarily be closed in the region. And we already have a non-paid leave policy that we could allow staff to utilize if they did have an issue with childcare that required them to be absent for an extended period of time. But again, we can discuss this with the full board on the 10th if you would prefer.
My only question here is, I mean, I don't know, I just feel like I've been proven wrong over and over again with this pandemic, at thinking things are going to go one way and then they don't.
I like your
And-
thinking best.
How long will it take us to
Yeah.
reintroduce a new policy as opposed to just extending this one? Because if we don't need it, we won't use it. Obviously, this applies to if the school's closed specifically for the COVID-19 pandemic. And then, you know, then we're covered. We don't have to rethink the whole thing or reintroduce it.
Okay, so I think we could do that. We could extend it and we could put language in it that specifies it specifically for COVID-19 closures.
Okay, which would
If the
mean
school
that it would,
closes, yes?
Yes,
School closures.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, for
Yes.
school closures.
it would, all we would have to do if we did that is to extend the date from June 30th, 2021, 21 to 2022, and hope that it is never used.
Correct.
Something very bad would have to happen, so I hope that never does. But
Mhm.
I mean, I've been proven wrong over and over with my own predictions, so.
Yes.
And sorry that I'm new to the policy committee, but could we not put that same paragraph in the BC, GBVDB and address that under the one policy? So due to school closure, staff would be able to access or no?
Mhm.
Just in, I don't know.
Well, I think there's two questions. I mean, please forgive me if I'm wrong, and maybe I misunderstand. I thought some of this was the school closures were it wasn't just SSD school closures. I mean, it was all schools closures. I mean, the issue was other schools were closed as well.
Or childcare.
Our employees, our parents, or, you know, or family members who are needed to watch those kids.
Our child's class could be quarantined, you know.
And I think the other policy is for our own
Leave of absence.
schools,
Yeah.
not for others, you know, not for countywide or
Yeah. The
Yeah,
previous,
other issues.
I thought we needed this, and we need to just extend it out.
I don't think we're out of the, you know, we're out of it yet.
great. I've started sharing my screen since Amy had to step away, and so hopefully you can see that.
Yes, I
Sorry.
can.
Okay,
Yep.
I'm sorry, it took me a minute to make that switch over.
I would recommend, the only thing I'd recommend is our temporary policy go to 2022 from June 30th, 21 to June 2022.
Okay. All right. So let's go back here. We've got GCBA for review.
I had nothing on this.
Yeah, I don't think let me just refresh myself a bit. I don't think I had. Yeah, I had nothing here either.
Yes, it's been reviewed thoroughly by the HR department. We have no changes. However, if you notice, it just had not been, and it's possible it's been reviewed, but you can see that there hasn't been a revision in some time. And so we just want to make a note, especially with such an important topic, that it has been reviewed. So we'll bring it for the first reading in order to be clean with our new process. And then that way we can notate that, 2021, August of 2021, or it'll be September, I guess, by the second reading, that it was at least looked at, and it doesn't look like there's such a long gap.
Okay.
And then that brings us to the GBLB.
My understanding from the board,
Mhm.
at our board hearing, we probably need to state what can be placed in the reference.
So right before you joined, I asked that we actually look at GBLBR.
Okay,
Because GBLB references, in other words, it says what will be in the reference is going to be in GBLBR. So I think it's actually R that we need to look at.
okay, I'll pull that up. It's not on board docs, but I will pull it up. And so we can all look at it together.
Yeah, I think that's the issue. I don't think the references were an issue. I think the reg is the issue.
Yes.
Okay.
And so
Here's the
here, I think if you scroll down to, if you start going down, we'll find it. I did take a look at that before we started.
Yes.
Here we go.
Here.
So
Yep.
page 2 of 5. We want to, and again, we might want to consult with our attorneys as well, but we want to see if we can add an item number 5. And I may be using the wrong term here, but a condition, the conditions of separation, something like that. In terms of separation, essentially, the question was resigned versus terminated.
Yes, I thought and I didn't think we can say anything else, but I thought if noted, if terminated,
Yeah, or just resigned versus terminated. I mean, again, or
resigned
retired.
versus terminated.
Yeah, just I don't know what the wording would be. Again, term of separation, maybe.
Okay.
Form of separation.
And I believe after talking to Charles, he says if we said nothing else, we could say that.
And we should specify then really very clearly in this regulation that the wording should be either terminated or resigned.
Like,
or
retired.
Or retired, yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever the options are, but it should be like one word just to, with no other, or I guess in some situations there may be other, but again, if there's specific circumstances, I guess those would be addressed in the terms of separation from the district.
Yeah, what if we put reason for separation and then put resigned, retired, or terminated?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So.
And so that you could only choose one of those 3.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't this a part of if they resigned in lieu of termination?
So that was what I was saying. There may be specific situations where other circumstances may apply, but again, this is where I don't know here is this a situation where that the specific terms of separation for an individual would then apply, or do we want to, I don't know if we're going to foresee every single reason why somebody may, end their employment at SSD, but I imagine there's, only so many options.
Yeah, but I do want to specify them out because I don't want to get real wordy on this where we end up putting ourselves in legal jeopardy.
Yeah.
What if we said, go on.
Oh, so, no, I think you're going to say what I'm going to say. Go ahead.
I was going to say, put down resigned, retired, terminated, resigned in lieu of termination.
Mhm.
And then just put four things, and you got to choose
Four
between
things.
those four.
Mhm.
But I don't want to say any more than that because I don't want to get sued.
Okay,
And I mean, sorry, if anybody could just look into, are there any other one-word answers we may want to provide that would be, in other words, are we covering all the options so that there's not a situation where,
what might be best is if Wendy and I put this together, what we talked about, number 5, with conditions of separation and those 4 areas, and then sent that draft to the district's legal counsel and ask for them to provide feedback. If they are in favor of the policy committee's changes, then we can bring it forward for a first reading. If they are not in favor of those changes, we can discuss that at the August 24th executive session instead of bringing it in open.
and I would like for them to propose, other options.
Correct.
In other words, if they think something would work better, I'd like to, of course, hear what they have to say.
Most definitely. We will ask them to do that.
This is a regulation, so would that have to come for first reading?
No, would not.
No, it would not. Thank you, Ms. Pendergrass.
Okay. No,
So-
but it might say, I do think, Amy, we need to go back to the policy and make sure that the policy is, you know what I'm saying, that nothing changes in the policy with what we're putting in here?
Mhm.
And that would go for a first reading.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Let's go back to the policy just a second here.
Of course. Give me 1 second. There.
Even if we put after third sentence for a current or former employee, if we had information to be released is designated in the regulation.
Mhm.
So I mean, isn't that the 4th paragraph? All references will follow the requirements contained in the regulation.
Then we don't have to change anything at all.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think the policy is fine. I think we just have to change the regulation.
Okay. And it looks like the policy was just revised 14 months ago. Says May 20, oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking at it in, it looks like May 26th of 2020.
Policy?
Okay.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
then-
May 26th, yeah.
Okay. And then the last one we have on the agenda, are we ready to move on then?
Yes.
So the last one on the agenda is JED.
So
I'll let
that's
Ms.
where we're-
Pendergrass lead this discussion.
Right,
Sure.
so these were the proposed changes. They're members of the schools that worked on this, kind of just clearing up the absences, the language of the absences, changing parents to families, just to be more current with the times.
And they're just, and I'm sure other folks probably know, so there's just a couple of small typos. The sentence decision marker or legal authority, I think is probably meant to be decision maker.
Mhm. Yep.
And then there was further down, probably, sorry, I've got this. There's I'm sorry, go ahead and keep going. It had to do with the absence and the truancy. Here we go. Here we go. So item number 1 here, anytime a student is absent and the family, so it was the parents have not contacted, it should be the family has not contacted the school.
Thank you.
And those were my, I think, just, I think that was it for the typos that I saw.
Thank you.
Outside of typos, is there any questions or discussion?
No, it looked good to me. No, I mean,
Look good. Can you give me some background, Wendy, on why the change from parent to family? I'm not disagreeing with it, but you had said to keep with the times. Can you explain that? I'm not
Yes, so
disagreeing.
the last several years, there's been the district has really focused on being an inclusive when we talk about our families. And since the customary family dynamic of parents may not necessarily represent a child's family, both all of the research, our family engagement, PETA, family is a more appropriate term to use when you're talking about parents. Families are more inclusive because of our students that have grandmothers, aunts, siblings that take care of them. When you refer to them as parents, it's not necessarily their parent. So family is more inclusive.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to understand better.
Were there any additional policies that anyone had a question about or wanted to have any discussion about?
No.
No,
Right, I know that. I'm just pulling up on the calendar so we can see when our September meeting is on, I believe, September 24th.
okay.
So are there any policies at this time that you would like? I'm sorry, it's not September, it's August. I'm on the wrong one.
August 20, yeah, August 24th.
August 24th. Thank you, Doc. August 27th. It's August 27th.
It's Friday, August 27th.
That's fine.
Friday, August 27th. I'm trying to fill Amy's shoes here and I'm not doing a very good job, so I apologize. So are there any policies that anyone on the committee would like to see us address at that time? If not, it's pretty fluid. Ms. Pendergrass and I meet pretty regularly to talk about policy. And so we can move forward with anything that we have at that time, or we can discuss it at the August 10th meeting. If you have anything that the board members would like us to review, we can definitely add that to the agenda.
No, as long as we keep a steady review, because I know that we have a timeline to get all these done.
Yes, yes, definitely. Yes, that's it.
All righty, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Great weekend.
You
Take care.
too.
Have a good weekend.
Uh-huh.
Bye.
Bye. So the meeting is ended, so I'm gonna notify Mark Howell that due to Amy having to step away for the emergency, that we can stop live streaming. Try that.
So I know while you're contacting Mark, the next steps, just so I'm clear, make those corrections, and then does it go to the board for review? Or since it's a regulation?
Typically, regulations don't have to go for a vote.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying that.
But if the policy is going, the regulation can't be enacted until the policy has been adopted.
It's already approved. So. Therein lies the problem.
Doug is going to turn off the live stream. And
Okay.
after he turns off the live stream, then we can continue our conversation.
Right, because I just want to make sure that I know next steps clearly.
Mhm.